Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms. Check it out. Today, it is time for another poor man's cookbook. This one is a recipe that I make a lot, actually. I love this. When I'm allowed to eat this stuff, I eat it as much as I can. It is a breakfast burrito with Spam. You're gonna love it. We're gonna fry up some Spam. We're gonna cook some vegetables down, and we are going to mix it in with some eggs and some cream cheese, and we're gonna put it onto a burrito wrap, and it is going to be really, really good. My wife likes it, I like it, and I hope you will as well. You don't need a ton of stuff for this, but you do need some stuff for this. And let's go to the table here. I'll show you what you do need, and we'll get the party started. Let's go. All right, what you see constitutes most of what you'll need here. You're gonna need a couple of eggs. I'm gonna use 3 because I want a relatively large breakfast. These are from my girls down at the bottom of the property. You're gonna need a burrito wrap or a bunch of tortilla wraps, whatever you want. These are, you know, just store brand, whatever. You will need some onions. I've got some onions here that I'm gonna be chopping up. A tomato or 2, depending on the scale of how many people you wanna feed. And a green pepper, or in this case, it looks like, if I can get the lid off of these, a yellow pepper of some type. But I'm just gonna give it some pepper to give it a little bit of flavor. Now you can make this spicier by putting hot sauce on it. I don't know, it depends. And of course you'll need some cream cheese. And lastly, you'll need some Spam. I'm using regular Spam, but any flavor will work. I also am gonna put a little seasoning salt on mine, but you don't have to do that. What we wanna do first is cut up our Spam and cut up our vegetables. We'll get them cooking while we work on the eggs and doctoring up this piece right here. Let's do that. All right, I'm gonna start with the onions. I like a lot of onions in my Western style, you know, breakfast burrito-y type thing. My wife, not a fan, so we're always struggling. If she makes it, it doesn't have hardly any onions in it. And if I make it, it probably has way too many onions in it. But for today, we'll put in just the right amount since I'm the only one eating it. And we're gonna dice those up. I want all this stuff to be fairly small, just so that when you take a bite, it doesn't pull itself out of the meal, you know? So I'll chop that up a little finer. Those of you who follow my channel, as opposed to those of you who just randomly find this, you'll notice I'm using my favorite knife again, the knife that we got when we got married. A couple of these are steak knives from a long gone Lone Star Steakhouse and Saloon. That's where I met my beautiful wife. And that's where that has been all these years. All right, we got that done. Now I'm gonna cut up the green pepper. And we'll dice that up as well. Again, I wanna dice this up fairly small. Yeah, that's good. There's no right amount of the stuff that you're putting in here, you know. You want it to be hearty. You definitely want to notice that it's there, but you don't want it to be too crazy. And then we'll cut up our tomato. Like I said, man, this thing is sharp enough to cut through steak. Sharp enough to cut through tomatoes. It's the Ginsu knife of the steak knife world. Okay. Now you can also add salsa. I don't particularly like salsa on eggs, but it's funny because this is kind of salsa, isn't it? I mean, it's just not going to be cooked quite as long or pressure canned or anything like that. All right, we're going to take this and we're going to dump it into the pan. We'll put a little pat of butter on it and we'll get that part of this party started. We'll come back and cut our Spam up and we'll add that to the mix. I'm going to turn the heat on and I'm going to turn it pretty low, just over 2. Of course, ours has like 2 positions, off and high. So your oven might, or your stove might need to have a different setting on it. I am going to put some butter in there, although the Spam kind of cooks itself in its own fat. It's good for the veggies to have that. So I'll go ahead and dump that in there. Like so. I got these spatulas. They're like silicone spatulas. I got them in Gettysburg while we were on vacation once, and I love these things, man. So now every time we go on a vacation, I'm always looking for one of these. Got them at a mall, not in Gettysburg, but near one, Chambersburg or something. I can't remember the name of the town, Harrisburg. All right, we're gonna let that do its thing. We'll go back over and cut up the Spam, and then we're gonna add it to it. All right, here we are with our Spam. And I don't want them to be too thick, so I'm gonna cut them, you know, maybe 1/4 inch. And just 2 slabs. Now, some people, you can chop them up. And if you chop them up, well, then you've got, you know, little bits that you can mix in with the eggs. You're welcome to do that. I like a nice crispy Spam. I don't want to get soggy from the eggs, so I'm going to leave those as they are. I'm going to fry them down like you normally would, and then we're going to wait because it's going to take a while. We'll have to turn it every once in a while, and we want this to be crispy. We want the veggies to be soft, so we'll go ahead and we'll toss both of those into the pan. And I probably should have used a bigger pan. I definitely should have used a bigger pan, but this will still work for us. I'll go ahead and add those in, and we're just going to let those cook down. We'll let them cook, so it'll probably be, you know, 5-10 minutes real time, but we'll come back to them. While we're doing that, I am going to go ahead and doctor up the burrito wrap, and we're going to break our eggs up and scramble those. All right, here's our base. We're going to do that, and we've got cream cheese. And I'm just going to take a pretty good slab of that. What about that? Oh, wow. Okay, maybe that's a bit much. Maybe not quite that much. Let's go with, looks like it's happening, huh? Yeah, let's see where that brings us. That's too much, but too much is always better than not enough, right? Man, it's going to be a lot. And we're just going to spread that around our burrito because we want that to kind of be, you know, like you'd put sour cream on a burrito, but this is kind of the sour cream. Now, I have done this where we haven't had cream cheese, and I'll use, yeah, it's a lot. And I'll use cheese, like cheddar cheese, chopped up and put in there. You can do that too, but in this case we had it. And so that is what I'm using. I'll put that away. I'm going to put the rest of the vegetables away. And we'll move that out of the way, and we will get our scrambled eggs scrambled. Now, scrambled eggs are weird, man. Everyone's got their own thing for scrambled eggs. Like, oh, they put a little milk in there, or they put some water in there, or they beat it with a blender, and there's all kinds of weird stuff people do. I do none of that. I'm just going to put them in just the way they are, and I'm going to beat them up with a fork. There we go. That's good enough. And like I said, I'm going to put a little bit of seasoning salt in mine. You don't have to do this. It's really up to you as far as tastes. Some people will put hot sauce. I'm still on the fence. I don't know. I might put some on there. It's actually almost 10 o'clock. I had to get up and get to work right away. The critters needed help down at the bottom bar, and everybody was low on feed. I could hear the roosters going crazy, so I took care of them this morning. Then I actually did some auto repairs, so breakfast is coming a little late. It's just shy of 10 o'clock. All right, let's go back and check on our stove and see how it's coming along. And cue the fire alarm. That's right, Eric's cooking in the kitchen again, and you know what that means. All right, everything's just about cooked up just right, so I'll go ahead and shut this off for right now, and we're going to put the Spam on a plate. We're going to put this in with the eggs, and we will cook that as well. All right, fire alarm is turned off. I don't know why everything I cook burns, but it's really not burned. I mean, take a look at how perfectly that's like perfect. And these are just perfect. So we're going to mix that in with the eggs. I'm going to scrape the pan a little bit. I want all that bits to get in there. Nice. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little more butter in that. We're going to let this pan cool off. We want to cook the eggs low and slow. So really we want to be kind of, we don't want them cooked well. Does that make sense? I'll show you what I mean when we actually get to the cooking part. But for right now, let me get a little bit of butter. Melt some butter down here. I don't want to know what these pans cost. My wife bought them. I'm always gotten Walmart pans. I think these came from Belk's at the mall. I don't know. They look fancier. They feel heavier than the ones I usually normally buy, but who knows. All right, we've got that in there. I'm going to turn my heat back on, but I'm turning it to absolutely like low. And we'll add that to it. Make sure we got all our goodies out, and we're ready to let the last bit of this happen. So you can see it's starting to, we just want to make sure we keep stirring. You don't want to push it around too much. I don't know how to describe this. And this is my way of cooking eggs. Everyone's got their own way. Turn it just a little bit higher. There we go. And there we go. We're just going to keep on stirring it around until it till it firms up. It'll still be just a bit runny. Now, if you're going to add your cheese to the eggs, I don't recommend doing that, but you can. Cream cheese and eggs actually is really good. Cheddar cheese and eggs I'm not a huge fan of. I like cheddar cheese on an egg sandwich, but I don't like it in the eggs. Weird. All right, as you can see, it's already starting to firm up a bit. Just going to let that happen. And we're going to be ready to eat this. Man, I am starving. Like I said, it's after 10 at this point. I'm ready to eat this. If you haven't checked out my other cooking videos, and Jen has a couple in here as well, you can take a look at the playlist on my channel called The Poor Man's Cookbook. It has a lot of really good recipes from Jen and a lot of really questionable ones, plus some food reviews from me. So I made Chef Boyardee pizza last, but we also made a breakfast Spam sandwich, some really good deep fried hot dogs, some chicken and rice. We've done some stuff over the years, as well as like MRE taste tests, stuff like that. So hope you'll take the time to check those out as well when you're done watching this one. All right, I'm gonna let it sit for a bit. You can see it's kind of broken apart, but that's okay. We don't want it, like if you're gonna make an omelet, you don't want it, you want it to all be one piece. For this, we want it to be bite-sized stuff, so we're gonna cook it down in a way that it never burns and never really fully hardens. You can see it kind of starting to congeal up. Another maybe 60 seconds and this thing will be ready to eat, and man, I'm looking forward to it. Cool, now I'll go ahead and shut it off. Now look, you can look at this, and I don't know how it's showing up on screen, but it's kind of ugly. It's kind of ugly. You know, some meals are like really beautiful to look at, and some just taste really good. This one just tastes really good. There's a reason you wrap it up in a burrito. You don't need to see what it looks like. And of course, if you left out the seasoning salt, it would have normal egg color. But the seasoning salt, I don't know if the salt is dyed or whatever's going on there, but it makes it like an orangey, darker color. But we're ready to put this into our wrap. This is going to be a massive sandwich because the wrap I got is not the bigger 10-inch. I think it's an 8-inch, but that's okay. All right, so wraps here. We're going to go ahead and pour this in. Normally that would probably be enough, but we're going all the way in because I'm all the way hungry. And there we go. Now trying to wrap this thing up is going to be nearly impossible, but I'll give it a shot and we will wrap this video up with it. All right, so here it is on the plate. I'll attempt to give it a good wrap. It's tough to close one up when it's this big. Yeah, it's going to be a little harder than I had hoped, but yeah, there we go. This is one of those ones that once you pick it up, you don't want to put it down, but here it is. Yep, just right. If I had mushrooms, I would have put it in there, but you can see a little bite of Spam and all the goodness that's in there. Yep. I thought it might be too much cream cheese, but there really isn't. It's just right. Well, I guess that'll do it for today, my friends. Another episode of The Poor Man's Cookbook. It's the breakfast burrito with Spam. Hope you're enjoying the series.